Welcome to the Rich Mind Podcast.
Because that's what I love about this new way that I want to do the podcast. I just want to keep it super conversational. I want to have people join us, just like we were having a conversation just before we hit record. Once again, it's like, man, why aren't we recording? Because this is exactly what I'm talking about, which is today we're going to talk about physical activity or physical health. When you're catching this, Greg had the idea. We were back and forth. What do we want to talk about today? And he came up with this idea about physical health. When this episode drops, we're going to be towards the end of January, maybe 1st of February. And a lot of us, myself included, going to raise my hand here. Whether or not you set New Year's resolutions, set New Year's goals for yourself, and then you just lose steam, lose momentum. And as Greg's been on the podcast before, and he's the best he's one of the best that I've ever met about staying disciplined, even when the temptations are right there in front of him. Whether it's to do something or not do something, he's great. And it's inspiring to me. So anyways, man, physical health. Help me, man. I need help.
Yeah, physical health is, we all need help with it. Nobody's perfect. Like you said, I appreciate your kind words, but I definitely have my down days as well. But I just don't let them turn into, a down week and then a down month, because I've done that before in the past and it turns into years of trying to lose weight. And I've been there before. And so I totally understand the failure of New Year's resolutions and everything that, encompasses that.
So this is going to be an excuse. And I've heard this and I use it myself, right? Life is just so busy with stuff. It can be mindless stuff, or it can actually be things that you need to move your life forward. We're always talking about trying businesses and just personal development and all those. It takes time to do all of those things. Where in the world am I going to find time to work out, Greg? Help me. What do I do?
Yeah. You gotta make time, right? And you gotta make it a priority. For me, it was more of a health issue that hit me. And I was like, oh, this is hitting me right in the face. I need to make this a priority. I actually stopped a partnership that could have been very, very lucrative for me, but my physical health was more important to me. And I told my partners, hey, I really need to focus on myself. And I did that, and I wouldn't change that decision for anything, even though I left a lot of money on the table with these guys. Wow. And it would have been great.
I don't think I knew. Whether I did know that story. Yeah, I didn't realize that was the case. So you had your physical issue, which was diverticulitis. We've talked about that in the episodes in the past. We won't go into maybe what that is. Maybe check out Greg in previous episodes. You'll definitely get more of a detailed what that is. But you had an opportunity and you had to let it go because of your physical issue.
Yeah, so I was in the middle of basically raising money for some assisted living facilities that we ended up closing on 2 of them in Phoenix. But at the same time, I remember I was in the hospital and I was texting, investors, hey, where are you at with the money and all that kind of stuff. So with these partners, we closed on 2 of them, and I'm very grateful we still have them and they're great partners. But they went on to build, I don't want to call it an empire, but they're doing really, really well.
Wow.
And about 2 months later, I was just like, you know what? I really need to take the time for myself. Like you said, I got to make time and make it a priority, because without health, money doesn't mean anything. Where you live doesn't mean anything. It really hit me square between the eyes.
Yep. I'm right there with you on the health piece. I'm not the best at it. I'm trying to get better at it all the time. Having lost both of my parents at early ages for them, right? My mom was a month before she turned 50, and my dad was 6 months before he was supposed to retire, quote unquote, retire at 65. Really made me figure that out for myself. And once again, I'm not the best at it, it's frustrating. I get going. I build up some momentum, right? The first of the year, you're going to go, you're going to do. You've got all these goals, you've got all these things you want to do for yourself, and then you just fall back into the rut of, okay, I'm just busy, or I'm going to skip it today. Like you said, it's the difference of, maybe having a bad day versus a bad week. It's like, okay, yeah, I fall into that, right? I'll turn a day into a week, into a month, and the next thing you know, I'm not doing it at all. Mm-hmm. That's been the hardest part for myself, but you do that so well. And I know you're trying to help folks do that also, right? What is it do you have any suggestions for somebody that might be struggling with something like that right now?
Yeah. Honestly, it's just a consistency and creating that habit. I know we talk about habit creation and routines, morning routines. It's not rocket science. It's simple in the way you lay it out in your head, but physically doing it can be challenging, because it's easy to be lazy, right? It's easy to sit on the couch and watch Netflix as opposed to going out for an evening walk, after you have dinner or whatever that looks like. But it's also the motivating factor of how much do you want to change? Why do you want to change? That was a big one for me because up until, I was in the hospital with diverticulitis, I was like 60 pounds overweight and I was just like, I was healthy, or I was healthy in my mind.
Yeah, what you thought, right?
What I thought, yeah, until, somebody told me otherwise. And I was like, this is, not life-threatening, but I didn't want to kick that can down the road and go to the hospital the next year and then the next year. So that was my why, is I'd never want to go back to the hospital for anything related to, digestive issues. So understanding your why and, really just pushing forward and consciously doing things that, there's not every day where I wake up and I say, all right, great, I'm going to do this workout today and I'm going to love it. No, but is it going to get me to my end goal or closer to it? Yes. So that's the logic, and that's the override in my head. I was like, all right, let's just do this. Let's try to enjoy it. But knowing that it's going to help me lose weight or muscle up or whatever the goal is, right?
And you said something there about keeping it super simple. I think that's partly part of it as well. I think we try to make it too complex, try to come up with eating regimens and workouts that just, if you start to work out, whether you're lifting weights or even if you're going for a run or something like that, and if your body isn't ready for that, I mean, it wants to shut it down. Like, you're going to be so sore and you're going to be miserable, right? For weeks or months, even for that afterwards. I can remember back, I'd never had an issue with my weight. And it's like, I'm not terrible even today comparison, right? The comparison game, but I'm just not where I want to be. But in my retail days, and even I was with a retail grocery chain for a while, and then I was with Coca-Cola for about 6 or 7 years, but I was moving every day. I told you that before we hopped on here today, that I wish I would have had one of those trackers. This is pre-step trackers, right? I would have loved to have seen how many steps I was taking every single day. And that was my exercise. I mean, you talk about keeping it super simple. I intermittent fasted, or I fasted every day because I always skipped breakfast. And that was just a habit that I was in forever. I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was even before I even knew what fasting even was. So I would skip breakfast. The bad thing I would do in the morning is I would always have a pop or a soda, whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the country you're in, right? I would have a pop in the morning, whether it was a Coke or a Dr. Pepper. That was my go-to drink. That was my morning breakfast. And I know that's bad, but that's all I would have until, say, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon every single day. Eat, a little bit of a snack in the afternoon, come home and have dinner with my family. That was my day. And I was just always so busy, but I was always able to keep the weight off back then. Number one, because it was super simple. I just moved, and I moved a lot. A lot of times I was lifting and moving things as well, not even just walking around. But then I was always not snacking and eating and being tempted by stuff that I shouldn't have been, even though I had my pop in the morning or soda. It's up for debate whether that was a good thing or not. Obviously, we know now today that necessarily wasn't a good thing. But at the same time, that was really my bad, quote unquote, bad thing that I was doing for myself, that I just need to get back to that. Keeping it simple. I loved how you said that, right? That was an example for myself. Is there anything else for yourself, for you? I mean, you live down in Florida, which that's another challenge for myself, being in Indiana, right? It's cold. It's right now, we're in the middle of winter. It's cold outside. And once again, that's an excuse. I can go outside. I could bundle up and go outside. I just, at this point, I choose not to.
Yeah, it's all choices, right?
Yeah. Anyways, anything else any thoughts on that as far as just keeping it super simple?
Yeah. So, I mean, like we were, mentioning walking, I walk, I don't know, since I moved to Florida, I probably walk like 3 to 4 miles on average, like every day. And in the beginning, I didn't really like walking because it was so boring and slow to me, because I was used to lifting weights and, P90X and like kind of pushing myself. But we did it as part of the 75 Hard Challenge, my wife and I just kept on doing it, right? And now it's part of my morning routine. I love it in the morning. It's like the first thing that I do is, just get out for a walk and, just get out in nature. Sometimes I have my headphones in and listen to a podcast. Other times I won't. But it's just nice and like relaxing, and it's easy. I mean, it's not like challenging to walk. So
now, are you walking fast? I mean, are you like, does that make sense? I mean, you can leisurely walk, or you can like deliberately walk. I mean, that's like two different things. I mean, is there one or the other, or do you do both or all, or what's your typical thing?
I just leisurely walk, honestly. I know there's people out there that do the speed walking and all that kind of stuff.
So that's how it was when I was at work, right? Because I was always, especially with Coke, because once I got done with my day, I'd be done, right? I'd have 10, 12 accounts to hit, and I'd be like hustling, right? I'd be moving as fast as I possibly could. That's why I was curious on what that was for yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, that just works for me. If you want to speed walk, great. Like we're talking about with New Year's resolutions and everything now that we're in, the new year here, it's easy to get caught into that mindset of, I'm going to do this, 6-day a week workout. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to look great. Like all these high expectations, which some people can hit that expectation, but a lot of people, you really just need to just move, right? Just plain movement. And I know listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people are talking just about movement, whether it's, walking or just riding a bike around your neighborhood, not necessarily pushing the weight and doing Pilates 4 days a week and all these, crazy high expectations that we hold ourselves to, because we do need these things to be consistent in our life. Like I said, I've been walking for 2.5 years, and in the beginning I didn't like it. Now I love it. And I just feel the health benefits, and it's just nice getting outside.
Yeah. So there's times we'll be on our calls and you'll be like, yeah, I got to go because I need to get my walk in, right? It's almost like you're looking forward to it versus it being a chore. Yeah. It's a mindset shift. It's just a switch in the way you look at it. It's a get to versus a have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're talked about, and you're potentially going to help me with some accountability, which I appreciate. I think we all need a little bit of, some accountability. So do you have anybody like that for yourself, or is it more, can you do that on your own? Are you talking to anybody specific, or do you have any things that you jot down, or is it even maybe in a journaling process? How do you keep yourself on track? You mentioned it, you made the decision back when you were having your major medical issues. Is there anything that you're doing to help you kind of stay on track with some accountability?
Yeah, so I actually use a online app. It's on my phone. It's called Habit Tracker. It's free, so there's no paid version, I don't believe. And you can actually connect with other friends who use that app so they can see if you're doing your walking, if you're lifting your weights, whatever you want to do. So that's the only thing that I use at this point. I think because I have my why pretty much dialed in. Like, don't get me wrong, I can miss a day or two here, but for the most part, I jump right back into it.
You never do, man. You never miss. No, I hear you.
And
man.
when
Just
I do
life,
miss,
right?
Sometimes when it's really like downpouring in the morning and I'm not going to go for a walk,
yeah,
it'll kind of mess me up because I don't get my sunshine. I don't get the walks and the steps in. So, but yeah.
You just said that with the sunshine piece, right? How much do you think that plays into it as well? Meaning you hear folks, the name that's coming to mind is like a Gary Brecka, something like that. So folks, you might be familiar with Gary, which I would highly recommend you consume his content as well. I love his message, but he talks about that first sunlight in the morning. And once again, you being down in Florida, you get that sunlight. Whereas unfortunately for me, 90% of the time in the wintertime, it's like gloomy and gray. And I honestly physically feel that nowadays. Right? I mean, I can tell the difference. Today, we've got a sunny day outside and I'm super excited. Hopefully I'll be able to be outside for a little bit, but the difference between sunshine versus a cloudy day, how do you respond to that for yourself? Any ideas on there?
Yeah, no, it definitely hits you. I mean, the sunshine, I'm grateful to have the sunshine here in Florida. And yeah, I do, some research, or I listen to some podcasts about the circadian rhythm and the sunshine hitting you, first thing in the morning. It actually helps you fall asleep at night. So it's kind of counterintuitive thinking there, but the sunshine in the morning will help you sleep at night a little bit better.
Have you noticed that though? Because you were out in Phoenix even before then. So it's like you've been in sunshine, sunlight. I mean, that's 90% of your time is with sunny skies, right? I've got family live out in Phoenix area as well. I mean, we've gone to visit and it's awesome. Like, it very rarely do you see clouds in the sky. Yeah. So you've just been lucky enough to have that experience for so long. I'm sitting here getting jealous of you right now as we speak. I'm like, what in the world? I hear you. But yeah, that's got to be a huge difference.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, I can't imagine living somewhere where there wasn't sunshine or I mean,
you can't imagine being this guy, me, pointing at myself, me.
It would be a hard flip for me to do at this point, just because I enjoy it so much. And I do feel the benefits of the sun, and just getting outside and walking in nature. So yeah, I mean, like I said, like you said, lucky that I live in Florida and I kind of position myself that way. But,
so if there's folks out there like myself, right? Maybe they don't necessarily live in the environment that's conducive in the middle of winter to do some of those things. Do you have any ideas? I think you're really good I think you have like a stretch thing you do for yourself as well. You stretch every day and anything like that, tips like that, you can help me. Like I said, I'm trying to figure those things out for myself. Anything like that folks can do inside that doesn't require big gym memberships and a bunch of equipment and all that stuff, right? Because I think that's part of the thought process. You think you need all these things, equipment, space, when in reality, you really don't. Any other ideas that you do or have done? So it's like on a rainy day, you might not skip the day, right? You're still going to do something. What is it that you do for yourself?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different options. If you do want to get some equipment, obviously you can get like an exercise bike if you want. I have one in my office here because I like biking. You can get a treadmill, under the desk treadmill, or one of those ones that have the arms on them. And then resistance bands, I think are great. I know you mentioned that you've been doing that too. So I'm trying
to get back into it. As I mentioned, folks, I mean, at the first of the year here, I've got to get some things back in for myself. I like lifting weights, but I don't have a gym. So I've gone out and I've purchased some resistance bands that, yes, you've got the handles and you can, you hook things up to doorways and you can stand on them. I'm learning how to use them. That's one beautiful thing about the internet, right? You can do some quick searches and you can find some folks that'll teach you how to do some different, maybe the same types of movements that you would find at a gym with some equipment, but you can definitely get the same feeling within your muscles. And I'm not here to bulk up. I mean, I don't need to be some big old muscle man, but at the same time, I just need to get some muscular strength built back up from in myself. On top of moving, I just need to get back into my moving at least several times per week, if not every day of the week. I mean, that's kind of my goal here moving forward. So there again, you're going to set up some accountability for me. This whole habit tracker, is that something that we could set up if folks were raising their hands saying that they were looking for some accountability? Can you set up a separate, you mentioned you were doing it with some friends. Is there something that we could set up as a group, even people raising their hands saying, yeah, let's join some accountability, friendly accountability, right? It's not like we're going to be, beating you up over the head if you don't go do your walk that day or anything like that. But at the same time, kind of bring it to someone's attention, is that I've never been on that habit tracker app. Is there a way to set something up separate that can be you and I, and then anybody else that wants to join us?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So yeah, if anybody wants to join the habit tracker, let me look. I believe it is just, it's called Habit Share, and it's like a turquoise icon with a check mark in there. We can put a link to it maybe in the notes and everything.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yeah, it's really easy. You just put in your habits. You create your own habits. You create their frequency, and then you basically just go in there. However often you want. I go in there once a day just to check off the things that I've done. And then, you can.
So it is interactive. I mean, it's not just like you just put something in there once. You're literally going in there every day and you're checking whether you did it or didn't do it.
Yep. Yeah. You can set it up for, you do this every day or you do it 2 times a week. And then, anybody who wants to be held accountable, we're happy to do that. We basically just need I believe it's your name and your email so we can connect through Habit Share, and then we'll see your habits, you'll see our habits, and then we can kind of, go from there and hold you accountable. So yeah, if anybody wants to take us up on that offer, send us an email at info@richmind.co and just put Habit Share in the title there and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, Habit Share in the subject line, folks, info@richmind.co. Yeah, let's do that. I think I'm going to do that, number one, for myself with Greg, and just get better at being on track for myself. As I mentioned, so that's the one thing about this entrepreneurial stuff, right? You're just kind of on your own. You're working. It's like I'm working all the time, and I know you are too, Greg. But if you're out here trying to build businesses and build relationships and you're just busy, you're busy, and you don't necessarily take the time for yourself, and that's kind of what the whole idea of this physical activity will do. So if we can help with that accountability piece, Craig is going to help me as we move into this new year. I need to get the resistance bands going. I've got, treadmill I need to get back on, get my steps in. Simple. Keep it super simple. And I think you really see some great results. I know you've just the simple activities you've done for yourself, Greg. Tell us, everybody, again, as far as from when you were sick to what you were able to accomplish for yourself. Just let everybody know what you're able to do in a relatively short period of time. It did take you years to get the results. It definitely took you a little while. But anyways, just share everybody how well you did for yourself.
Yes. I mean, when I started out in the hospital, I was, 215 pounds. Now I'm about 155 pounds. And it didn't happen overnight, like you said. It actually took me a little while to drop the weight, and there were some stumbling blocks along the way. But just creating those habits really helped me. And even in the Habit Share, you can put in nutritional habits. You can put in journaling habits. It doesn't have to be like you create your own habits. So it could be anything that you want. It could be kiss your wife goodnight every night, and that's a habit that you want to create. Cool. Put it in there and we'll hold you accountable for it. So it's, not necessarily just physical and working out and everything, but yeah, incremental steps and incremental progress. That's what I'm all about. And, just keep on doing it. And You have to kind of just embrace that mundaneness sometimes, but also, the Habit Share app, at least for me, it kind of gamifies it because I want to get close to as 100% as possible. And sometimes it's not possible, but it's a fun way to kind of gamify it and challenge yourself.
And that accountability piece, once again, folks, if you're interested in accountability, reach out to Greg and I, info@richmind.co. Habit shared in the subject line is crucial. I think a part of it, because you get to the end of a day, you've been busy, you don't necessarily want to do the activity. Let's say you've got, some stretching or some time on a treadmill or a bike that you said, right? And your accountability for a half an hour. And you're like, at the end of the day, it's like, I really don't want to do that. But without that accountability piece, you're probably just not going to do it versus, Greg's counting on me, or he thinks, he wants me to do this, or you're accountable to the group, how that will get you to take that action to get that result. And that's the big difference. That's where the accountability partners can definitely come in handy for you to achieve your success moving forward. And we definitely want to try to help you do that. Greg's going to help me, which is going to be fantastic. And we would love to have you invited into that group as well. So reach out to us and we'll get you added to the group, and we'll get some accountability. We'll get some activities. We'll get some success here in 2025, which is super exciting. Anything else you want to leave folks with here today as we bring this one in for a close, Greg? I think this has been fun.
Yeah, no, I think this has been really helpful. I'm really excited to work with some of our listeners and audience members on the accountability piece. So, definitely reach out if you want that accountability. It'll be fun to kind of get to know everybody as well. And also, hold your feet to the fire a little bit, and you guys can do the same for us, right? It goes back and forth.
Yeah. So 100%. So just because we're on the microphones or on the computer screens or you're watching us or whatever, we're trying to figure it out just as much as you are, folks. So we just want to try to improve for ourselves and try to help you along the way, trying to add value for value. And so, that's where we want to try to build a community of some kind, which brings me to, in the future, we're going to be building out the Rich Mind community. Don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll put you on a wait list. Once again, info@richmind.co. Maybe in the subject line, put community this time, and we can let you know when this community is launched. We definitely want to have the resources available, try to help you in your personal development and your financial education journey. Maybe you're looking to become an entrepreneur. It's going to be a great little group. Accountability is going to be a part of that as well. So if you're really trying to increase and build this resilient life moving forward through health, wealth, and legacy, we're definitely going to look forward to collaborating with you in the future. So appreciate your time. I think next episode, man, a little teaser, I think we're going to dive a little bit more into some of these habits. I mean, we've kind of brought this up. There's a couple of habits that have really been impactful for me that we'll get into what those are in the next episode. I know it's been good for you as well. I'm going to leave you. We didn't even talk about this prior to hitting record. So you're probably thinking, what in the world are you talking about? We'll talk after we drop off here. I'll let you know exactly what habits I'm talking about. But folks here, join us on the next episode. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into some really impactful habits. Today we talked about physical exercise, but there's some other ones that have been super crucial for me in my success. And I know that they have for Greg as well, even though he doesn't know what I'm talking about. But it's going to be a fun conversation. So join us in the next episode. It'd be a lot of fun. So appreciate your time and attention. If you would help spread the message of the Rich Mind podcast, share this with your family and friends. We'd greatly appreciate that. You can like and subscribe to your podcast platform of choice. You can also find us on YouTube. Just help us out. We would greatly appreciate that, trying to add as much value into your life as we possibly can. So go out there, join our accountability group. We would love to have you on. It'll be a lot of fun. info@richmind.co, and Greg and I will be more than happy to try to help you to achieve your goals in 2025 and beyond. So go out there, have a fantastic day, and Greg and I will be back again real soon. We'll talk then. Bye now.
Thank you for joining us today on the Rich Mind Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and share it with someone you know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Rich Mind Podcast on your favorite platform and never miss an episode. Want to dive deeper into transforming your financial mindset? Visit our website to download your free 5-step guide titled From Dead End Job to Entrepreneurial Freedom, designed to help you conquer your fears and start on your entrepreneurial path with confidence. One last thing, don't ever forget that your mind is the first place where wealth is created. Keep dreaming big, take action, and together, let's build wealth, a legacy, and a life we love. Until next time.